Hello and welcome to Kanesidder This. Today I do not have a special guest joining me because I think everybody was afraid to come and see this show with me. There's been some interesting emails and phone calls that have been made to the critics in Dallas, sort of threatening. It's very weird. I don't really want to go into it because I'm a little nervous about it myself. But I was afraid I was going to encounter this mysterious Mickey Blake tonight at Funhouse Theater and Film's production of Stiff. But hello.
Hello. I'm Saul Solomon.
Hello, I'm Stanley Miller.
And I'm Robert Gray.
I seem to, I guess, have some special guests for the podcast today. Hi, gentlemen.
Oh, hi. We heard you came to the greatest show ever performed on a stage.
Thank you. We would just like to thank you for coming and seeing this.
Yeah, and seeing the greatest play ever because, Guy Van and, Vanessa Beckamp, greatest actors ever.
Right. The Blighted Heart.
The Blighted Heart.
Yes.
Greatest play.
I actually directed it. Like I said, my name is Stanley Miller. Thank you for coming to see it. I just want to say, without you, there would be no theater and no one to pay our check.
Pay our bills because, money is power.
We prefer to work by philosophy of art for art's sake.
And money for money's sake. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I do have to say that thankfully, unlike The Blighted Heart, what I was subjected to tonight was, in fact, a 2-act play. I do believe that cutting it down was a very good choice. 9 acts is quite a bit for a play.
Yes, it is.
Now, 9 acts isn't necessary. There's a story that needs to be told, and
Robert here is the greatest writer of all time. He was going to make this into a novel originally.
Yeah, and he's still going to.
He's still going to make it into a novel, but
as a critic, I do have to say it's a bit over the top to say that your production is the greatest play of all time.
Well, I feel like that's usually that is a little over the top, but when it's something like Stiff, or The Blighted Heart, rather, it is the greatest show of all time.
Well, Mickey Blake did say in his, sadly, last review that The Blighted Heart was the greatest play of all time.
Mickey Blake had said, the saints would come back if they ever, or any holy figure, they would come back to see the show. And, I really feel that there was something to be said about that because, Mickey Blake being, very powerful critic.
Mickey Blake is one of the most powerful critics in New York, and so to get such a good review from him...
I've never seen a review like that from Mickey Blake. It almost sounded like a different voice.
I do not know what you're talking about. Mickey Blake and all.
Yeah. Sometimes it just happens that way.
He really seemed, happy, but he had this stuff he knows and all. But he really seemed happy as he left from production.
Well, Mr. Gray, did you feel that the play deserved? These are your words after all, but did you feel they deserved quite such a glowing review?
Yes. Plays are subjective, to every single person that comes. Obviously, in Mr. Blake's view, it was particularly good. I don't know if it's the same way with all people, but, that's just Mickey Blake's view, and I can't,
Oh, it's the view of all the people, actually. They come in, and they're like, The Blighted Heart, the greatest play I've ever seen take place on a stage.
So other people have said that as well.
The script is better than music. It is music.
Better than music.
Better than music. It is melodic. It is better than music itself.
Oh, wow, that is quite... I enjoyed the play. I have to say I did enjoy the play. And I wanted to speak with you, Mr. Miller, since you are here. Dealing with a bunch of different personalities, as one does in stage productions.
Yeah.
Did you feel that there was ever a moment where you felt you were at the end of your rope, perhaps?
Sometimes, but I think that just goes with any play that you do. You always have some actors that are kind of difficult to work with.
Except for this one, because Guy Van is the greatest actor of all time.
Well, I think the greatest actor is a little overstepping it, Saul. But he does have some traits that lend itself better than others.
He is a fantastic puppeteer.
Yes, he is. He is one of the best
in his great show, the Puppet Show. He's a great show.
It seemed to be a small portion of his performance.
As part of my kind of overall idea, I really wanted to incorporate it, but not to push it too much. People know him for the puppets. I want people to know him for the stage.
But it's also the little things that count. I mean, that's why I kind of wanted a 9-act play more than a 2-act play, because, it's a little moments.
But 2 acts are great themselves because you have the greatest actors of all time. You have the greatest show of all time. You have the greatest director. You have the greatest writer. You have the greatest producer of all time.
Which it's interesting that you are off Broadway. If this is the best production, do you anticipate a transfer of any kind?
It's like Robert says, baby steps.
Baby steps.
Art for art's sake, big believer in it. Shapes our nation's children.
Art for art's
shapes
our nation's children. All right.
We are actually anticipating a film draft.
A film draft with the wonderful film producer, Mr. Walter Goldstein.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Absolutely. He's interested in the project.
Oh, of course, yeah. We had a lunch with him not too long ago, and I went out to California. It was fun. I think we'll make the greatest movie of all time.
Well, you had the great fortune of receiving the final review from Mickey Blake.
Yes.
Yes.
How has his passing affected you personally?
It was a devastation to the city.
How did you find out?
His wife.
His wife told us.
And
after the play.
After the
he
play.
didn't come home, and she was wondering where he was.
Yeah,
he was having some symptoms.
And
he said he wasn't
we didn't
feeling
know.
well.
He looked kind of fine. I mean, he had a runny nose and all.
Yeah.
He was complaining about a ruptured spleen.
Yeah.
And a ruptured spleen?
And a ruptured spleen.
I think they're connected, runny nose.
Yeah.
He was able to tell that his spleen had ruptured.
Yeah, he was kind of moaning during our play.
Oh, moaning during the play.
Yeah.
But in a good way, too. Like,
it was a wonderful play.
Wonderful moaning.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to have to go now. So thank you very much
Thank you.
for your time.
You're welcome. Anytime.
This is interesting. Welcome back. I am now joined by 3 talented actors from Funhouse Theater and Film's production of Stiff. I am here with Doak Rapp, who plays the producer, Saul Solomon. I am here with Chris Rodenbaugh, is that correct, Rodenbaugh?
Yes.
Who plays the writer, Robert Gray, and Marcus Miller, who plays one of his ancestors, I believe, the director Stanley Miller. Perhaps no relation. I've seen several shows at Funhouse now. Unfortunately, I don't get to see all of them because I have really enjoyed everything that I've seen you guys do. The Shape of Things I thought was such a risk, such a terrific challenge for you guys. I really, really like the fact that Jeff Swearingen and Bren Rapp stretch you guys, that you're not doing Peter Rabbit and other children's shows. How do you feel? You're all veterans of Funhouse, correct?
I'm actually new.
This is your first.
This is my first show
Okay,
at
this is your
Funhouse.
first show.
Yeah.
Well, first, tell me, you guys, from having been here before, Doak and Chris, tell me about what it's like to work at Funhouse.
Well, I think Doak should go first. He's been here the longest.
It's a very professional environment. It's like a real world environment, which I feel like you won't get. There's the risk. Critics come to almost all of our things, if not all of our shows, and it's really like kind of high pressure, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And when something like Chris and I, we played opposite of each other in Hamlet. He was Hamlet, I was Claudius, and I mean, that was quite a big challenge. Yeah. So then after that, they challenged us with the Zeus story, where I played Jerry and he played Peter.
Edward Albee is the Zeus story,
Yes. So I feel like they always present you with new challenges when you've conquered some before.
And that's, that's also kind of ties into what Funhouse really stands for, is expanding beyond what people typically consider to be children's theater and youth theater. And they try to bring a more mature, a more insightful look at everything. And they challenge us with these new shows and harder roles. Mm-hmm. And just push us to become better actors, which is an experience that you typically cannot receive from any other children's theater.
Right. And what about you?
This being my first kind of experience at Funhouse, I'd worked with Jeff a long time ago, it seems like. But actually being in a Funhouse show, I've heard all about it. And just to see kind of the process and the difference and the big pushes of being more professional. I'm older than most of the kids in this cast, and so I've been in kind of the real world, and then to come back here to see how they're mirroring that in most or all of the ways that I've kind of like, for instance, I don't know, they expect you to have all your lines memorized. They expect you to remember your blocking. They expect you to take notes. Notes are important. Notes are the difference between good acting, mediocre acting, and great acting.
Well, having worked with other directors, how do you feel Jeff is to work with?
I love him. Oh my gosh, he is great. His I don't know, his directing style is so outlandish. It works to keep it because he's working with youth, to keep their attention and to make them not just be okay actors, but to really push them and to make them, I don't want to say important, but to make them like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Just make them very, I just got to say I had the word.
It's professional.
Professional, yeah, to make them professional and to make them ready to work, ready to do this, to give them the opportunity to see if they like this, to see if this is a career path for them.
And it's one of those things that if you're not going to try in the real world, then you won't really succeed in Funhouse, if you know what I mean. Like,
he's not the director that will simply stop at the point of, just go out there and have fun. He expects everybody to go out there
give
and
110%.
Give 110%. Remember
show.
every single thing. Don't change anything because, frankly, it's just a lazy way of acting.
Like he says, there is a proper way to tell a story.
A single proper
way to tell a story.
And not to mix it. It's very westernized, as he put it, a westernized mindset.
A lazy mindset.
A lazy, westernized mindset to think you can do a story different every night. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I have noticed is when I was younger, starting out, I didn't have this kind of a opportunity. I did some shows that were above what I would call my pay grade whenever I was in high school, but it's still, the stuff that is done here is complete, like you said, professionalism. It's complete. It's not done as if, if they screw up, well.
At least they look
screw
cute.
up. It means something. It's like, no, we have to make it better. We have to be better than that. And I think that you all seem to be stretched. The timing in the show is very mature. The timing in the show is very important. And if it is off, then you miss the bit. You miss the whole bit. And you had, especially, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to call you Stanley.
That's fine. Marcus.
Your actual first name was Marcus. I keep wanting to call you Stanley. Because you were called Stanley all night. You had a moment where you're going to have to give some hard truth to the writer of your play. And we were with you from the first moment that you said his name. Because of the tenor of your voice, because of your physicality, we knew exactly where this was going, and we knew it was not going to go well at first.
I love that moment.
And it's a really, really nice monologue, a nice moment. You had a moment, Doak, when I'm trying to remember what it was now. There was one that was like really fast. You had several of them, but one of them was, and it's the power of threes. And the power of threes, comedy is funniest in threes. Mm-hmm. And what was it you said? You called him something, and I can't think of a third.
Called myself Joe DiMaggio.
Right, the Yankees.
Chris here, Lou Gehrig, and I could not think of another one for Marcus here.
But the brilliant delivery of it is in, this is the first person, this is the second person, and this is the third. Mm-hmm. I did not give a name to that third person, but I delivered it like it was the third name. And it's perfect. That's exactly, if you don't have that kind of timing, and I can tell that that's something that has been drilled, that is something that you have worked, that you have finessed. It's really, really nice.
And 9 rehearsals.
I know, that's what's so crazy. I cannot believe how short the rehearsal process is.
We didn't have the whole script until last week.
Well, that's the playwright's fault. That's the player. No, I'm kidding. That's who we'll blame. Who is the playwright? Oh, that's
Jeff Swearingen.
Oh man, I hate when that happens. And also, Chris, having seen you in The Shape of Things, which I really enjoyed your performance of that as well. This was somewhat of a more manic character for you. Have you written anything before yourself?
In fact, I am currently writing a piece that hopefully Funhouse will be producing in the spring.
Cool.
It may or may not, actually.
Well,
happen.
did you get any insight from this character?
Definitely. I've had the talk where, well, you have to cut the play. It's a novel before it's a play,
right?
Everything like that. But there was a lot that that also detracted possibly from my being sort of a comedic actor, because most of the productions that I've been in before were very tragic, very very serious things, except for I played Hamlet and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead,
right?
But I've been Hamlet and Phil from The Shape of Things. So it was a little bit of a different experience for me, but with the help of Jeff and my fellow actors, I think that helped me through the show.
Usually there are, at least aside from Daffodil Girls, the shows have a couple of main characters and everybody else sort of kind of shifts through. With this show, there are a lot of speaking parts. There are a lot of people.
Generally, it's like that, but in
I have to say for the shows I've seen, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Have you seen any of the holiday shows?
No,
okay.
I have not.
All right.
I have not. So they have a lot of.
They're very ensemble also, but I think that's the way Jeff writes. Did you see Sound of Fanny?
No, I'm very upset that I missed that. I'm very upset that I missed Game of Thrones.
He writes
that upsets me.
Ensemble pieces really, and I'd say this one is pretty ensemble, and I think that really is kind of like the Funhouse little way of working.
Because it allows a whole bunch of different character archetypes, and it allows for different types of comedy to happen in one play. Yeah. It gives you a wider range of possibilities in the play if you write more ensemble plays rather than focusing on only a few characters and only a few archetypes.
And if it's really like a character-based comedy, like on character, because like a lot of this show was the relationship between the three of us,
right? So
it really builds more characters,
Well, and also that's a very classic. I mean, this is a sort of a Three Stooges kind of setup. You get yourself in a predicament, you don't know how you're going to get out of it, and it takes all three of you trying to come up with ideas, some of which are better than others.
Yes,
and it really is a very classic comedic setup, and the 3 Men and a Baby. I don't know if you've ever seen 3 Men and a Baby, which was, the three 80s actors who got together in a film and got themselves in a little predicament, and they had to, it's the same sort of thing that's happened throughout time. And so it's a solid model to use, but I really have to say that every single person, what is his name? The one who played Guy?
Jackson Beeson.
Jackson Beeson. I could have watched him all night. He is the best bad actor I've ever seen in my life. And that is a compliment. That is a compliment. It cracks me up.
It was extremely hard when we sat here on dress rehearsal to keep a straight face. Extremely
very nice.
We made jokes several times throughout the production of the play that maybe we should write the full version.
Of The Blighted Heart.
Coming next year.
I don't know if anyone could take it. I don't know. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for talking with me today. You've done a fine job. You have a lot to be proud of. And enjoy the rest of the run. You run through Saturday. So not that much time left, folks. You got to get out. How many? Do you do one show on Saturday or two?
Two.
You do. You have a matinee and an evening on Saturday. Fantastic. So you have until August 9th to come and see Stiff at Funhouse Theater and Film in Plano. It's worth the trek. I think you'll have a good time. And thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.